Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very special live post-show edition of the Pie Bomb Wrestling Podcast, a show that is for the fans, by the fans. I am your phenomenal host, Mr. Podcasting, Chris Belcher. You can follow me at Chris Belcher24 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are here for you every Monday and every Wednesday, but a little bit early this Monday as it is Sunday night post Survivor Series. We're going to give you all of our thoughts. Before I go any further, I want to go ahead and apologize for the frog that is in my throat and this terrible voice that I've got going on here. It has been a long weekend, and I can get into it if you guys want, but it's just been a long weekend. I went to the Titans game today, and it was very, very difficult. But anyway, beside the point, I cannot, clearly, because of my voice, I cannot do this on my own. My partner in crime, the young buck, is here with me. That is Mr. Andy York. What's up, man? How's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Very interesting show, interesting day as a sports fan altogether. So I've had some rough moments today and some good moments and everything in between.
It's man, it's been a day. It's been a weekend.
It has been.
We talked on the podcast this past week that I was going to be hopefully doing commentary for CCW on Saturday night. That happened. Also cut some interviews for CCW, which reminds me, if Nellio, if you're watching, I will get you those interviews this week. But so needless to say, it's been a long weekend. My voice is about gone. So hang in there with us, folks. We are going to cover WWE Survivor Series just ended. We're going to give you some quick thoughts, immediate reactions. Obviously, we haven't had time to digest it. Obviously, I want to go back and watch it again, see what other things I can get out of it. Overall, though, Andy, as one of the pillars, as not as Jim Ross would say, pillows, pillars. Um, before I get there, hang on. Our boy, Mr. Rosario Grillo, one half of TSF, is already chiming in. Bruh, CCW was better than that show. No Rock, yeah, I know. We'll start the show off with that just because you're watching. Listen, you just wanted him to be there, Grillo, so you could get a sponsorship. All right, that's why you wanted him there. Don't lie to anybody. But yeah, let's start there. By the way, CCW was fantastic. We'll get into that on the Wednesday pod. I'll talk all about that because it really was a fantastic show. But let's start there, Andy. Main event: Roman Reigns, Big E, a fantastic match, hard hitting as we expected. There was several hints of The Rock throughout the show. Obviously, we knew they would do video tributes and stuff, it being his 25th anniversary, but no Rock for the show? Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what. I mean, I kind of do it because I guess they're going to start building towards that match next WrestleMania. And so you've got to kind of start planting the seeds, I guess, now because that story won't just write itself. But I think it is what it is. Obviously, we kind of expected some things of The Rock, but fully transparent, I was not expecting him to show up at all because I just know that's not what he would probably do right now. He's probably a very, very busy man, and Survivor Series is not on his schedule. So it did not completely shock me. I would have loved to have seen it, at least an interaction, a face-off between the two, just setting something up down the line. I was honestly more surprised that we didn't see Brock show up here instead of
Mhm.
instead of The Rock. I was kind of surprised he didn't show up here, but he'll more than likely show up probably this Friday or very, very soon.
Also, the egg. Did we ever get a resolution on the egg?
It's a gift from The Rock to Vince,
Right. But it got
but
stolen.
it got stolen. We have to find out. Everybody, both Raw and SmackDown superstars are going to be on Raw Monday night to find out who stole the egg.
Oh my
So
gosh. Like
yeah, riveting stuff.
I I thought that like Vince would come out at the very end and while Roman was celebrating, he was like, "All right, I need to know who stole the egg. Somebody's got to fess up," and he would call everybody out, and then Rock would then show up. But whatever. I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
It reminded me of Survivor Series 1990 when they had the big egg that hatched The gobbledygooker.
Gobbledygooker. Yeah.
That's what it was. And the Undertaker was scared out of his mind that he was
That
going
he
to
was
be the
going to
one
be
coming out of the
the.
Oh man, that's so good.
Oh
All
man.
right. So for those of you who are just checking us out, we do have shows every Monday and Wednesday, but this is our special live edition. So we are live on our Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, and on Twitter. So if you've got questions, if you've got smart aleck comments like Mr. Grillo, then drop them our way. No, we like more comments than just the smart aleck ones. Drop your comments our way. We love to interact with you. That's what this show's all about. We're going to cover Survivor Series, and we're going to read your comments, and we're going to talk about it. Andy, but the Roman Reigns and Big E match, regardless of the hoopla that surrounded it and what we thought was going to happen, man, it was a hard-hitting match. It was everything that we expected it to be and more. Some really nice spots between these two. Big E really showing that he deserves the spotlight that he's getting for really the first time in his career. He's had a couple of singles runs, but that was before the New Day, and here we are, man. And I'm happy to see this guy get the spotlight.
Yeah, it's definitely he definitely showed in this match that he can hang with the top guy in the company, in Roman. And I think that was very, very important. I think we were seeing a definite style of Roman Reigns, which is like the first 10 minutes is like a slow, methodical, dragged out thing that starts to kind of get boring a little bit, and then all of a sudden, once it starts to get boring, he kind of turns it into a new gear, and they start to really pick things up. And I think that was the case in this match. Honestly, I think this match kind of suffered a little bit in the beginning because of the match that was before it, which I'm sure we will talk about here in a little bit, because the crowd was just dead after that. And then, they very slowly started to build them back in, get the crowd back in. And then when Big E hit that spear on the outside through the ropes, which scares me every single time he does it. I absolutely hate and love that move at the same time. Once he kind of hit that, it kind of picked everything back up.
That one tonight was very scary.
It looked like his foot got caught on the rope, and he kind of just like went straight down.
Well, and Mr. Grillo, if you're watching, maybe you can give us some insight on exactly how this works. But I feel like in order to hit that move well, like the guy taking the spear has to start falling back ahead of time, so that because it looked like E made contact with Roman, then they started going back so that the momentum was kind of halted.
Yeah.
So like if he gets that momentum going, then he doesn't get hung up on the ropes. That's just the way that I feel like it should go, but I'm no expert.
But I'm not going to try to bust out that move either.
Yeah, no, me either. You won't see me trying that move. That's for dang sure. But I thought it was great. I really did. I thought there was obviously I thought there was no chance Big E was going to win this match, but he definitely
They got me a couple times.
He had Roman on the ropes. A couple of big endings there. So some really, really, really good stuff. Again, I just wish we would have kind of had just a tease of something at the end. I don't know what I was hoping for, but do you feel like that I know you said you didn't think Rock was going to be there. I had a gut feeling that I just really thought he would be. Do you feel like that you're left deflated at the end because nothing else happened, or are you still satisfied that it was a really good main event and top to bottom it was a pretty good show?
No, I think I'm definitely feel deflated. I think part of it was because the build to this pay-per-view was so bad, all across the board, that there was no intrigue for this pay-per-view at all, other than the women's championship matches, like the Becky Lynch and Charlotte and Big E and Roman. Other than that, I did not care about anything else that happened on this card. And so I think that definitely played a part of it. But I think I do feel deflated because of I'm trying to think of how to say this. The matches went like the first match of the night was an absolute banger of a match. Fantastic. The second match was really good, but very confusing booking at times. And then from that point on, it was downhill from there. And I think that was very deflating. I got to be honest, I hate the Survivor Series pay-per-view. I really do. And I think that just kind of adds into it here, because I just know that it means absolutely nothing. So these matches are just kind of fun, but when they're not, it definitely takes you out of it.
Sure. I mean, we talked about it this past week. Like there needs to be some stipulations. There needs to be some sort of some sort of reason for these matches other than
Yeah.
quote brand supremacy, because in this day and age, like, what does brand supremacy really mean?
And
You know what I
when
mean?
you do the draft like 3 weeks before the pay-per-view, then it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't do us any good. All right, Grillo, you've seen me wrestle. Ain't no way I'm doing a spear through the ropes. That's true. You took a pretty stiff belt shot last night, though. I meant to tell you that. Kudos to you for that stiff belt shot. Or it looked stiff. Let's put it looked stiff. Okay. Good sell job, by the way. But no, like, yeah, I don't know. That's a crazy move. Big E, it scares me when he does it. I mean, it when Edge did it back at SummerSlam against Seth
Yeah.
Rollins, that's the first time
Yeah.
he had done it since he did it to Foley at WrestleMania 22. I mean, I lost it for that too. It was crazy. Um, brother, the stiffest thing. Well, okay, maybe you weren't selling. Maybe it was that bad. Oh man. So in any event, let's talk about the other match that we looked forward to. Anything else you want to add about Roman and Big E before we kind of move on? Um,
I mean, it was a really great match. I think it was a great way to finish the show.
sure.
Even though The Rock didn't show up, I don't think that was the deflating part of the night or of the pay-per-view. I think it definitely did live up to the hype of what, we were expecting from both of these guys at the top of their game right now.
Right. And if you read the dirt sheets and the rumors online, it looks like that Rock and Roman are headed to Hollywood WrestleMania, not
Yeah.
WrestleMania Dallas. So they're starting, like you said a few minutes ago, to plant these seeds early. Roman used the rock bottom in the match. You saw a backstage segment between Roman and Vince where the Rock was dropped in there a couple of times. So,
Which the line about him saying that the egg cost $100 million and Roman was like, "Yeah, just like my next contract," and walked
yep.
out. That was amazing. I loved it.
That that was really funny. That was very funny. Really, the first time, Andy, that we've seen Roman and Vince interact on camera with this head of the table character.
Yeah.
So, I'm watching that and I'm thinking, okay, how can we do more of this?
Yeah.
How can we have this version of Roman and Vince on camera together? Like, I find that really entertaining. I think it would be interesting.
You could honestly just bring back like the corporate, you know, thing again and just let Vince kind of be the one because we obviously know Vince's love and adoration for Roman Reigns.
Sure.
I mean, we've known that for a long time, so I don't think hiding that from behind the screen, but like putting that on the screen, I don't think that would necessarily be a bad thing. I don't necessarily want to see it every week.
Sure.
But in these like big moments, like even in big pay-per-views or whatever, I think it would be really interesting to see that kind of come up.
Yep.
And then
I agree.
especially if it leads to The Rock and Roman, you could have that build up into it in WrestleMania in Hollywood.
Somehow have Vince represent Rock or Vince be
Hmm.
the one to bring Rock back or whatever. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that for sure. Okay, let's head to the other match that we were anticipating the most, and that is Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, which opened the show, and I thought it was the best match to open the show. Best way, especially with as long as they went and as good of a match as it was. And I also, Andy, love the fact that these two didn't try. There was a couple of spots there in the middle, but otherwise, these two didn't try to out wrestle each other.
Yeah.
This was the fight that it needed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought it was really, really good. I was highly entertained.
Yeah, I definitely think this was probably the match of the night, which is saying something that it was like
Agreed.
right at the beginning.
Yep, agreed.
Um, Both of them, it was exactly kind of like you said, exactly what it needed to be of the shoot fight thing that we were wanting to see between the two of them. And I really, I still don't know what to think of the whole entire situation. I still don't know what to believe and what is not real at the same time, which is exactly what it should be. And so I really, really enjoyed every aspect of this match. I think it just goes to show that while she is very, very arrogant and upfront about it, Charlotte is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, if not one of the best of all time. And I think Becky could make the argument to be right up there with her right now. And so I think that was really, really great. This was the only match that I didn't mind the messed up finish or the wonky finish or the DQ finish. I absolutely loved it. And I love the
Mhm.
celebration right at the end from both. Like I love the reaction from both. which felt very real and honest about the entire situation. So I think that even added to it.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think this is something, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast last week or not. It's been a long week. Um, but I personally am of the belief that we're finally going to see Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania this coming year. I think that headlines either night 1 or night 2 of
Hmm.
WrestleMania. I think that one-on-one match just has to happen. I think this is the perfect time to do it. But that being said, if that match doesn't happen for some reason, I fully expect to see a Becky Lynch Charlotte Flair rematch for WrestleMania this year, just because of all the animosity that's been building in the ring and out of the ring, and the way this match finished. Maybe we see them go face to face at a pay per view, just like a backstage or whatever. But I think you have to plant the seeds for this to be a WrestleMania match. I don't know how they get there, like I said, but I think this feud obviously will never end because these two ladies are their careers are intertwined so much, of course, and with Sasha Banks and with Bailey.
Yeah.
But these two especially, because once best friends, now better enemies kind of thing. I don't
Yeah.
know, but I definitely think we'll see this again down the road.
Oh, I absolutely agree, and I wouldn't be shocked. I think the day one pay per view is going to tell us a lot
Yep,
about the WrestleMania plans, because I could definitely see Charlotte losing her title there, winning the Rumble, challenging Becky for the championship at WrestleMania.
yep,
Or I wouldn't be shocked, like you said, if Ronda shows up and wins the Rumble to set up that match as well. Which would be interesting to have Charlotte and Becky both be champion when Ronda wins to kind of full circle that triple threat. I think that would
sure,
be a nice way to add the nice little uh, whipped cream on top or cherry on top. That's what I'm thinking of.
sure.
It's a long
Yeah,
night.
yeah,
But I definitely, I think that would be a great way to go. And like you said, they're kind of like Batman and Joker. They're just destined to do this forever. And I think it's
hmm,
definitely, that's some of the best things that we have seen. They're destined to do it together, like Randy Orton and John Cena, or Randy Orton and Edge, and The Rock and Stone Cold. And I
yep.
think you can just kind of add more and more to that list. And I think these two are definitely a part of that.
The careers just parallel each other, no doubt.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I think it would be interesting. You just mentioned bring the triple threat kind of full circle. I think it would be interesting if they did the winner take all match again, and this time Charlotte was the one that, because it just seems like that Charlotte is Charlotte's their baby.
Yeah.
Charlotte's their, whatever. And it just seems like that they wanted her to win that match, but they just couldn't have her win that match because it
See,
was Becky.
yeah, I don't know if she's their baby anymore though. Like, I really don't. I feel like Becky has definitely taken away some of that from her, and I think especially with
Sure.
some of the recent things that have been happening, especially with who her dad is and who her fiance boyfriend. I don't know if they're married or not with Andrade.
Who
Um,
knows? I don't even think they
I
know.
don't either. But like I think there's a lot of animosity there between that relationship. So I definitely agree. But I think that, I think it would be a nice way to kind of go back to the triple threat, but I do not want to
Yep.
see that triple threat again. I
I
really
really
do not.
I really don't either. I wasn't impressed with it at WrestleMania, even after sitting through 5 hours. I don't think if I could have even just sat through that one match, I wouldn't have been impressed.
Yeah.
Grillo's checking out for the night. Heal up, brother. We will see you down the road. Thanks for dropping in. We appreciate it very much. If you are tuning in just now, this is the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast official post show. I can't even get it out of WWE Survivor Series. We're talking all things that just went down at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. My name is Chris Belcher. With me, as always, is Mr. Andy York. We are here for you every Monday and Wednesday, wherever you find your podcast. Audio versions premiere on Mondays and Wednesdays on SportsWire Radio. You can head over to sportnarium.com/player to check that out. You can also check out the video version. I mean, I'm looking pretty rough tonight, but you can check out the video version at bodyslam.net's YouTube channel. Head on over there, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications bell. Make sure you are aware of everything that is going on. Again, all things Survivor Series. We've talked the two main matches. Let's go to let's talk about the Women's Survivor Series match. This was before Roman and Big E. You alluded to this a little bit earlier that you felt like that Roman and Big E really had to find the crowd after what happened with the Women's Survivor Series match. Obviously, a big feat for Bianca Belair to come back 4-1 and end up being the sole survivor for SmackDown. But I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't expect this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what they could have done different to make it better
Right.
either. Like that's kind of part of the problem. I think some of the booking decisions they made did not make any sense. With Shotzi and Shayna and Natalie. Oh my, Natalia. The three of them kind of just turning on Sasha, just because Sasha accidentally pushed Shotzi into Shayna and getting her counted out, which there was like 30,000 countouts in this pay-per-view altogether, which was ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll get to the other one in a minute.
Yeah. And this one but just some of the booking decisions didn't make sense. I think Toni Storm had a pretty strong showing at the beginning. She got 2 eliminations. But she did get eliminated pretty quickly, which was definitely a bummer. Then Liv Morgan got eliminated, and that kind of took the crowd out. And then Rhea Ripley got eliminated from a V trigger looking thing from Shayna Baszler, so it wasn't even like a finishing move that got her eliminated. And so some of the booking things did not make any sense at all in this match.
And it went on for a long time too.
And it was slow. Like I'm fine with the match that goes on for like the 2016 and the 2018 men's Survivor Series matches that were like 45 minutes or an hour long. Those kept my attention though the entire time because they were moving and doing things. This match was just so slow and so boring. I felt bad for Bianca. I felt bad for Sasha, and those they put a lot of work into this, and just the crowd was not into it at all.
Right. Yeah, it's tough, man, because I feel like that. I don't know. They need to find some way to recapture. I don't know, some sort of momentum in the women's division, because clearly they set this match up around Sasha and Bianca leading their 2 teams, and it's not working.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if I don't know. It just, other than Becky Charlotte, like, I just don't feel like the investment in the women's division is there by the fans, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the crowd did get into it in one moment when we had the first face-off between Bianca and Sasha. When they got in the ring together, the crowd got hot for that because of their amazing WrestleMania match that they had.
Sure.
And so I think you could definitely capture that. I think it was just a long night, not a lot of wrestling on the night because there was a lot of breaks in between each match.
Yep.
They did entrances for every single person on the men's and the women's, which took like 13 minutes or whatever. It was too long.
Yep.
And I think that just kind of took the crowd out of it. And but I agree. I think they definitely need to light a fire back underneath the women's division. I think they're kind of doing that with some of these newer faces that are coming on, like with Liv Morgan getting a championship match, and with Toni Storm getting ready to fight Charlotte, and and Shotzi getting some big moments. I think they're starting to slowly do that. But they've also released some people that could have really helped their roster during this time as well.
Right.
And so I think it's kind of adding a lot into it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of factors that go into it, and I just, man, I don't know. There's, I don't want to say that it's too much Charlotte and too much Becky, but like,
and the thing is, Becky's only been back a couple months.
Well, but I don't think it's their fault. I think that it's the same situation that we run into in AEW that I was talking about earlier on the podcast this week with Ty Conti challenging Britt Baker at the last pay-per-view. Like, there was 0% chance Ty Conti was going to win that match.
Right.
And it felt like the exact same way with Becky and with Charlotte. Right now, I think there's 0% chance either of them lose their title before WrestleMania. That would not shock me whatsoever. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, like you said, but nonetheless, they had to have a 5-on-5 women's match to spotlight the women, and there they go. All right, let's talk about the men. Survivor Series match for the men. Seth Rollins, the sole survivor for Monday Night Raw, pinning Jeff Hardy at the end of the match. Now, the crowd was clearly behind Jeff Hardy. I would have much rather seen a face-off at the end between Seth and Drew, but I guess you don't want Seth to pin Drew. I don't know. You had the weird count-out finish with Drew and Bobby, which, you alluded to a minute ago. But the count-out finish of the night that I was totally okay with was Kevin Owens walking out. That was absolutely hilarious.
And it fits with like his new character. Like it fits with who his heel persona is. And so absolutely, I thought that was absolutely amazing, especially the way that he was like fired up to like start things off and then kind of left. I do find it funny that Seth got mad at him for that when Seth just sacrificed himself last year with a bro kick and just laid down for the 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Which, we forget those things as wrestling fans, so it doesn't make it's fine. It's fine.
And WWE wants us to forget those things.
Exactly. But yeah, I think this match was solid. I don't think it was the best men's Survivor Series match. I think it was really good. There was some weird booking moments in this match as well.
Sure.
But I think it was really good. I'm telling you right now, my early prediction for the men's Royal Rumble winner this year is Jeff Hardy. I think they're going to try to give him one more run because he is. This might be one of the he might be the most over he's ever been.
I completely agree with that
because everybody loves him.
Yep.
He is as soon as he comes out, because we saw him in Nashville, and everybody was just, as soon as he came out, it was all Hardy chants for the entire segment. They were even booing Damian Priest and some of these other things, and so it was everybody loves Jeff Hardy. So I would love to see him not necessarily win. I mean, if he won, I'd be fine with that too. Let him have a little run, but at least challenge maybe Roman for the Universal Championship. I think that would be really, really great as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I think it was weird that Austin Theory was in it, but he looked pretty decent in the match as well. Obviously continuing the feud between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley that I think will never, ever end at this point.
The crowd was hot for it when they went face to face. So to WWE's defense, why end it when it's always something you can go back to? I kind of felt sorry for Finn Balor. I felt like he was he was just there. Like they had to put him on the card because he was it's like a duck out of water or something.
And I felt really bad for Xavier Woods. Was in there for way too short as well.
Yep.
He was in there for not a long time, which I absolutely hated that happened. Yep. I thought, especially with him winning King of the Ring, I thought he would get more, like a little more time in the Rumble, maybe even get another elimination or an elimination or something. But that didn't happen.
I'm totally okay with Seth Rollins winning this match, being the sole survivor. I think it either needed. I mean, you and I both are sporting Seth Rollins shirts tonight, so clearly we find that to be a good idea. But I think it either had to be Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre being the sole survivor of this match. I think Drew needed it more than Seth because I think Drew needs that big staple win, especially if he's going to be the next challenger for Roman. I think you need to build him back up. Not that people don't care about him anymore, but he's
lost a lot of his steam.
Definitely lost some steam. So I felt like he needed the win more. But obviously, as we've talked on the past several episodes of our podcast, which is available wherever you find your podcast, on the bodyslam.net YouTube channel and on SportsWire Radio every Monday and Wednesday, we've talked about it for the last several episodes. Seth Rollins is just continuing to grow. Do you think we've obviously it's been speculated, okay, Hollywood WrestleMania is going to be Rock and Roman. So that means Brock and Roman are going to be at this year's WrestleMania. What are the chances that they pull a little switcheroo and it's Roman and Seth? Because, man, if you look at the WWE superstar of 2021 and you take Roman Reigns out of the equation, maybe take out Bobby Lashley out of the equation, number three's got to be Seth Rollins, does it not? Would it just seems like he's on such a trajectory that he would be a viable opponent for Roman, and then everybody wants to see that.
and it's not something we've seen a lot of. Like
Right.
WWE have done a great job of. I think the only singles match that I can remember between the two is at Money in the Bank when Seth
When
won and then Dean cashed in on him. I think that's the only one I
Yep,
can really remember.
me too.
And that was an absolutely amazing match, and both of those guys have upped their game from that match as well. So I think I would be completely fine with it. I would love to see those two go at it. Um, I wouldn't even change one of their characters. I would leave them exactly like they are right
Yep,
now. Let them go out and do their thing. I think it would be absolutely stellar or and amazing to see that match,
yep,
especially at WrestleMania. I think that would be a great place for it. And yeah, I wouldn't be totally shocked if that happened.
yep,
I just don't know. Well, I mean, you could do that and then do Brock and Bobby because that's a match that everybody wants to
yep.
see.
I agree
And
with
so
that
you could
too.
easily do that because I feel like they're not going to wait until WrestleMania for Brock unless he just shows up in the Rumble. I feel like there's a good chance that they may give that to us at the Rumble instead, and then building Roman up to somebody else at WrestleMania, which could end up being a Seth Rollins.
Right. Yep, I agree with that. So more on Roman and Seth Rollins. We'll plug a future episode right here next Monday. If you want to hear, Andy says he thinks that's the only time they had a singles match. Well, we'll
I'll find
dig
out.
into it and we'll talk about it next Monday as we are going to do an extensive coverage of the Shield, talking about their fantastic run. They debuted at Survivor Series in 2012 at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, which is where Survivor Series was tonight. So that was 9 years ago.
That's
We are going to talk about that,
crazy.
isn't
That
it?
it was that long ago.
9 years ago. We're going to talk about that next Monday on our show. So make sure you tune in wherever you find your podcast and at Sportswire Radio and at the bodyslam.net YouTube channel. All right, man. RK Bro and the Usos, an incredible tag match. I mean, obviously we wouldn't have expected anything less from these four guys, except Matt Riddle, of course. But
Oh, come on. Give
I
Riddle his
know
due. Riddle's great in the ring. Riddle is great
he
in the ring.
he is fine in the ring. He's even less fine outside of the ring.
Oh,
Just
boo.
can't do it, man. I can't do it. But thoughts on that tag match, man? Anything that really obviously nothing. I won't say nothing surprised me because, like I said, we expected that out of these guys. But Randy Orton, I read somewhere tonight that he surpassed most career pay-per-view
Mhm.
matches in
Yep.
WWE history.
Yep.
So thoughts on that?
Uh it doesn't shock me. Like Randy's the man. I think he's the first ballot Hall of Famer. I would love for him to be put into the Hall of Fame while he's still wrestling. I think that would be great for him to do that.
He and Cena could either one. They could do that, and it would be fine.
Yeah, and I think it would completely make sense. I
Yep.
just the thing about Randy is he while he's definitely aged and like slowed some things down, he still finds ways to make his matches interesting. And when he's invested in something, there's no beating. There's not really there's no chance in really beating him. And I think he's very
Yep.
invested right now into RK Bro, and it comes out in these matches. Probably one of the best RKO finishes I've seen in a long time. With him tagging in Riddle or him tagging Randy tagged in without I don't remember which Uso it was.
Right.
And he didn't realize that it was Randy had tagged in. He super kicked Riddle. Riddle dropped down, went to hit a Uso splash onto Riddle, and as he hit the splash, Randy hit the RKO on him and pinned him 1, 2, 3, and it was amazing finish. So I absolutely love that. Randy, I think there's definitely an argument that Randy could end up and should end up on like the Mount Rushmore of WWE. Not necessarily a pro wrestling, but I think there's an argument for him to be on the Mount Rushmore of WWE. I think that is not
Sure.
necessarily a given, but I think there's a very solid argument for that.
I can totally get behind that. I can
Yeah.
totally get behind that for sure. Yeah, like you said, not a given, but there's an argument for that. Of course, let's not even get into that. That's a huge rabbit hole. Let's not do
its
that
own
tonight.
podcast.
That is definitely its own podcast that will probably happen sooner rather than later. And then the random battle royal that almost wins, and he eliminates 12 out of the 24 competitors.
Yeah.
Why? Like,
Just to make him look strong, I think.
well, no. Like, I get that, but
Oh.
why not put this match on the pre-show? Like, we
Why
missed
have this
out
match?
on. Well, I get if you're gonna have it, whatever, but like we
Right.
missed out on Nakamura and Damian Priest. They put that on
Yeah.
the pre-show instead. Why? Why? It doesn't make any sense.
Because you got to get that Pizza Hut money. That's
Uh,
why you got to do it. By the way, Montez Ford was launching those slice of
Dude,
pizzas
wasn't he?
into the crowd.
Oh my gosh!
I think he hit the upper deck at one point. I was highly impressed with how he was throwing those pizzas.
Bro, that dude. Oh my gosh.
This was definitely just filler that didn't need to be there.
Sure.
Ricochet got a great showing. Ricochet ended up
Yep.
in the last two. I think that was a nice moment for him.
They're starting to give him just a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
which
maybe
I'm
this move
happy
to
for.
SmackDown is good. You know?
Yeah. I did really like the face off between Omos and Shanky. Because those are just two.
Right.
Neither one of them are great wrestlers, but those are just two big boys standing face to face in the ring. So there's some cool moments in it, but it's kind of a waste of time. And why wasn't AJ Styles on Team Raw and not in this battle royal? But whatever.
It is. I mean,
he was fighting Brock a couple years ago. Now he's in a battle royal
and not even winning it.
No,
his protege is winning it. Oh my gosh. If they squander this and let AJ Styles walk and go to AEW, I'm going to lose my crap.
It's fine with me.
Oh, of course it's fine with you. I think it's ridiculous. Anyway.
Basically, Kevin Owens walked out of the Survivor Series match and straight on Dynamite tonight.
I mean, that's kind of what it seems like, doesn't it?
That's what it felt like.
It really did. I hope they save that. If they do sign him, I hope they save that. But, they probably won't. Anyway. All right. Man, anything else top to bottom? It's a solid show, but you said you hate Survivor Series. I don't know. They need to spice it up. I think we said it at the top. We need something to fight for. I think brand supremacy is not enough. I think we need some sort of, I don't know, like the winning brand.
There just has to be stakes.
Yeah. We just need something.
It needs to mean something.
Yep.
And I think that's really important for Survivor Series.
Other than that, man, like the matchups are fine. I enjoy seeing the champions versus the champions, especially when it's good champions like we had tonight.
Mm-hmm.
There just wasn't. Some of the things had a little bit of a story. Most of it didn't.
Right.
But at least Roman and Biggie and Becky and Charlotte, those felt as big as they needed to be. So those were definitely the two high points of the shows. The beginning and the end, heck, that's what they remember when they go somewhere. The first thing they see and the last thing they see, everything in between just doesn't count.
Kind of forget.
Anything else you want to add, though, about the show tonight?
I actually really enjoyed the commentary tonight.
Dude, I was going to mention that.
Which is different.
When Corey Graves and Pat McAfee and Michael Cole are together,
it was amazing.
Match,
it was so funny.
I was losing it.
Pat McAfee is just the man. Like, I absolutely love Pat McAfee. When he was talking about when Big E went to hit the splash onto the ring apron, and he said, "I've seen this on TV." Like, it's just, who says that? Who says that? It's so great. And him and Corey Graves are so stark opposites, and they were laughing most of the time. They were getting each other to break during this time, and it was just, commentary was definitely better than normal. And so I loved it. And I love the fact that they mixed it up. So sometimes you had Corey Graves and Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, or Corey Graves or Michael Cole and Pat and Byron. And, I love the way that they just kind of mixed things up. It made it feel different.
It was very cool. Yeah, I completely agree. It was very cool. I'm a part of some Facebook group. I can't remember which one it was, where somebody commented and said they hate Pat McAfee's commentary. And I was like, what are you watching?
Best commentary in WWE.
What do you? That's what somebody responded to the post, and they were like, he's the best commentator in the game right now. What more do you want out of a commentator? Do you want Jim Ross? Okay, go watch AEW. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Okay,
anyway. The thing that makes McAfee so good is that he's a wrestling fan calling wrestling. He's not feeding these cheesy lines or he's just him
reacting to what he sees.
Yeah. So I think I think that's perfect for him.
Yep, I completely agree. All right, man. If you are a first-time viewer or listener of the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast for this show, welcome to the party. We drop shows every Monday and every Wednesday, wherever you find your podcast, on SportsWire Radio and on the BodySlam.net YouTube channel. So make sure you head on over there, subscribe, download, like, comment, social media. We are at PBW Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Andy is at Andy_PBWP. I am at Chris Belcher 24. And make sure that you support the show. We greatly appreciate it. Head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/PBW Podcast. Buy yourself one of our shirts. Buy yourself a BodySlam.net t-shirt. And Mr. Grillo, I'll give you guys a cheap plug. Go buy a TSF shirt. And if you don't know who those guys are, go check our archives out. We got a fantastic interview with those guys. And then check out their stuff online because they are the hottest, fastest rising tag team in the industry. You're welcome. Y'all owe me. I'm just saying. All right,
Check
man.
is in the mail.
Yeah, right. Not from those cheapos.
No.
I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Anyway, all right, man. Andy, let's do this again this coming Wednesday. This is a lot of fun. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for doing this. Thank you all for your interaction, for joining us tonight. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. For Andy, my name is Chris Belcher. Thanks so much for checking out the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast. We will catch you guys down the road.